Hello there, and welcome everybody out there in Facebook land. I thought I'd just pop on and have a bit of fun around GDPR. Fun and GDPR don't often go together. Well, sometimes funny things happen. Now, I've been talking to people about GDPR all around the world for about 6 months now. And when I started talking, nobody ever heard of GDPR. So what is it? It's the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, which is a piece of legislation that was introduced by the European Union, and it went live on the 25th of May 2018. So it's come into force. It's in force now. And lots of you will probably have been getting notifications from people like Google, Twitter, Facebook, all about updating their privacy policies. And that's all because of GDPR, because these big companies all around the world know they've got to comply. Now, in all the time I've been talking to people around the world, a lot of myths have emerged about GDPR, what it is, what it isn't, and who it applies to and who it doesn't. And what I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks is dispelling some of these myths. Now, the biggest one, the most common one, myth number one is my business is not located within the EU, therefore GDPR does not apply to me. Well, if you believe that, you're so very wrong, because GDPR applies to any business anywhere that collects or processes their personal data of individuals located within the European Economic Area. And the economic area, the European Economic Area, is made up of all the countries of the EU plus Iceland, Norway and Liechtenstein. So if you are running a business, no matter where your business is located, and you hold personal data of people from within the EEA, GDPR applies to you. So how could that be? Well, for example, imagine you're running, I live in New Zealand, and over the past few months I've been talking to lots of organizations in New Zealand to do with tourism and accommodation providers, and none of them have thought GDPR applied to them at all. But the fact is, every hotel motel in New Zealand, for example, who takes in guests that come from within the EEA and takes their first name, second name, their address, their credit card details, their email, any of those things, it applies to that hotel or motel. And of course, in New Zealand, there's lots of activities, tourism activities. All of those activities, if they take, for example, bookings online for their activities to book them, and those people come from within the European Economic Area, then GDPR applies to that business. And it really is important that people know this. It's no excuse to say my business is not located within the European Union or within the EEA. The fact is, if you hold the personal data of any individual from within a country in the EEA, it does apply to you. And should you take notice? Well, unless you've got very deep pockets, I think you should, because the fines can be up to 20 million euro, that's $23 million, or 4% of your global turnover, whichever is the greater. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know many small to medium businesses that could survive a fine of that size. And that's why we got busy getting our business prepared for GDPR and making sure that we are putting in place all of the things that, GDPR is actually making businesses do what they ought to have been doing all along. And it's making us tighten up our policies, and has made us tighten up our policies. And we now feel a lot more comfortable. And our clients and our partners and the people we do business with are going to feel a lot more comfortable anyway. So there we are. That is myth number one on GDPR. There, you didn't think GDPR could be fun, but it is. But there are more myths to come, and I'll be back with you talking about those over the next few weeks. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you, David. Thank you, Horatio. And thank you, Nick. Great to see you. And We'll see you next